We got a few people in here. British Hodl is going to be joining us here in a minute or two. He's wrapping up a few things. Got 170 people in the room. Good to see everyone. We have the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve conference today. We're going to tune into some of that if it's interesting. I'm actually speaking at it, I think 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon. British Hodl and I thought we would have a discussion with the world when he can come around. It looks like he's coming in right now. I started just a tad early, so I wasn't trying to press him. When he's available, we'll get him on stage, and we're going to talk about market going to 86,000 today, then backing off to 84. I see this as just part of the game and giving us another opportunity. I really hope Bitcoin slips back down in the 70s so I can pick up another chunk for my bag. I think that would be an awesome investment. I'll remind everyone that we are at $85,000 right now, and the top of the market was 109 about 3 months ago. That puts us somewhere in the 28 to 30%, 27% down off the top. If you were ever able to buy Bitcoin at a 30% discount to a high, it would be like one of the great opportunities over the last 15 years. So I don't know what people are waiting for. British, good to have you here, buddy. Let me get rid of this chart. I just was using that to give us a little bit of a picture and kill some time. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Excellent. How are you?
Good, good. What part of the world are you in today?
I'm still in Dubai.
Nice. How's the weather out there? Getting
It's
warm?
really good right now. It's a little bit hot, but it's really good. I'm just trying to figure out how to get this to stream on my channel as well. So just give me a second.
Yeah, no problem. The way I do it, I think if you somewhere up on the right-hand side, it'll let you stream it out up top right-hand side. I can't see it because I'm already doing it. Let's see, can I edit it? How long you been out there while you're pinging with that?
Since January.
You spend 6 months of the year out there?
I try and do more. I try and do more. I love Dubai. I absolutely love it.
I've been there a couple of times. I don't know that I could live there. I mean, I could live there if I didn't have here to live. You know,
Yeah.
The option's pretty cool here. I think I've always been interested to know that the people that live there from Europe, how they'll look at this $5 million immigration card. I would have thought that would have been attractive to some people. In fact, I would have thought that would have been very attractive to a lot of really rich UK citizens.
Yep. Like I said, even for myself, like if Bitcoin gets to $1 million to $3 million, I think I would consider it, and depending on the terms.
You mean when it gets to 3 to 5 million?
Exactly.
We're going to talk about that today. I want to do some prognosis, if there is such a word, on how long does it take us to get to 3 million? 3 million would be that's a $7 trillion marketplace. See, I don't think that's a hard number to get to, man.
I don't think so either.
I mean, really.
Let me see. Right. Okay, that's working. We try and add Twitter as well.
Is it working?
Yep.
Awesome.
We should
You
be
guys
live
just
on
be patient with us here for a little bit, guys, if you would. We're just trying to get it all set up. Do you ever send anything to Rumble?
No.
Yeah, I've had problems sending stuff to Rumble or Instagram. I think it's because Mark doesn't like me. Probably. Oh yeah, there you are. You see, you're live on. Is that YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
And I'm trying to get Twitter as well. But I think right, Twitter's not going to work. Let me see. Hold on.
If you guys could repost the room, especially if you're following British, repost the room, tell people that we're meeting here. We're going to be chatting. I find the strategic Bitcoin reserve right now a little boring. They're talking about a lot of really weird stuff, so we're probably not going to spend much time on that, British. I don't know if you've looked into that show at all today, but it's a little...
No, who's talking right now?
Let's see if I can just pull it up. Nope, pull that out. Pull. These people right here. Let's see. There it is. Oh, hell. Let's see. When is this? You see this on the screen? When am I speaking with these guys? We're hosted by... Oh, you know what? This session may be starting here very quickly. If it is, see, when was this session supposed to be? If this session's starting, what I will probably have to do is pop over to this.
Give me an early night.
Yeah, it could be, buddy. What do you think about, if you finish doing your stuff, what do you think about the price movement this morning?
I think I don't think we have enough. I don't think we have enough liftoff ability yet. For some reason, something's holding it back. But,
I agree with you.
Yeah, but price action was good this morning. It's promising.
What do you have a sense of what would be holding it back? What do you think?
I think it's just the schizophrenia with your president and what the administration is putting out there. I can understand the whole idea of the art of the deal and moving people off their base in order to find a new base, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. I don't get the schizophrenia. I think there should be a way to allow the markets to have some certainty, and it just drives me to, well, they don't want the markets to have any certainty. And they're using that as some form of negotiation tool. I don't think the Trump administration is full of morons. I know a lot of people seem to think that. I don't think that's the case. I think he's got some very good people in there. So at this point, what can you do? That's the problem with democracy, right? All you can do is vote and then sit back.
Yep. And be tolerant and wait through the process. It's painful.
Yep.
I'm getting ready to have a show this week with Simon, and one of the things I wanted to ask you is, what mistakes do you see people making? And I'd like you to take some time with it, really. You've been in this game long enough to understand the mistakes people are making, and I'm starting to see that they may be doing the same thing over again with equities now. Could you just talk a little bit about the mistakes you think people have made and are going to make in this next move?
I think that there is a lot of PTSD in Bitcoin combined with a lot of lack of understanding around what this new world is and how this new world is looking at Bitcoin. And I think that combination of PTSD and lack of understanding sort of brings people to a point where they have either analysis paralysis, or they're just so ignorant and scared about that ignorance that they just go into a hiding place of not wanting to figure anything out and just trusting. Now, the good news is that if they do that, then they're in a good place, right? Because at the end of the day, they got Bitcoin. So at least that's good for them. But the message that I've been trying to share with people is I just think that the players that are in the game right now are looking at Bitcoin in a very adversarial way. They understand that it is a zero-sum game. Either I own it or I do not own it. and they want to make sure that they own more than you, and they want to give you incentives to let go of your Bitcoin, because they understand in the world that's being created, the owners have the power, and that's it. That's the reality of it. So I think that's a big mistake right now amongst Bitcoiners. I think we've got to, get the happy hippie Bitcoiner and send them off the pasture at this point. If you want to survive in this, you've got to start thinking about Bitcoin in an adversarial way. And that's very uncomfortable for a lot of people. And I understand that it is uncomfortable. But I don't think BlackRock is looking at Bitcoin going, hey, we can all have some Bitcoin. I think they're looking at Bitcoin going, we want it. And unless you start thinking like that, I think you're going to be left here. And I think you're going to be incentivized to give away your Bitcoin. And that's just the reality of it. So we'll see. You're muted out, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, it looks like I thought my schedule was at 2. It looks like it's right now, but I'm not going to interfere with what they're doing. Where do you think? Pardon?
Do you need to go to
No, it's okay. I think they've already started. There's no sense in me interfering with them. Do you think people are going to sell Bitcoin and try to get clever and buy MicroStrategy and MSTU and MSTY and STYKR and the next deal in GameStop? Very similar to what they did in the prior 8 years, moving from Bitcoin to Solana to Ethereum. I'm kind of sensing this is going to happen again.
Yes, except the difference this time is that those vehicles are built on top of Bitcoin, right? Like those vehicles are built on top of Bitcoin. I would be much happier if someone said, I'm going to sell some Bitcoin and reallocate it to MSTR than saying I'm going to sell some Bitcoin and screw around with Solana meme coins like one of our friends is doing right now.
Yeah, well, I have a very tight definition for the word friend.
Yeah. That's my British side.
There's a lot of jokers in this space, right? There's a lot of jokers in this space. It does not require a lot of intelligence to smoke them out either. All you just look for the inconsistencies. This is what I like about you. You're very, very consistent.
Thank you.
Bang, 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 bang. It's the same thing over and over. And, I also don't see you using a bunch of hyperbole and drama to get people to do things. I just don't get it. I don't even get the whole, hey, this thing's going to be worth $13 million one day. I do not need it to be worth $13 million. I need it to be what it is right now. It's worth $85,000 right now. I love 85 grand. I can't buy a franchise for 85 grand. Yeah. No franchise on the planet. Yeah. I can't buy I can barely buy a car for 85 grand a day. I most certainly cannot buy an apartment door. My brother's paying $350,000 for an apartment door, man, in some cases, right?
Yep.
I remember being able to buy apartment doors for $40,000. And now they're $200 in Arizona. Yep. And Bitcoin's sitting there at 85. We're going to look back at Bitcoin one day and go, my God, man, who bought this stuff at $85,000?
Yep.
Some genius.
That's going to be us. We're going to be the ones sitting there going, oh, can you imagine? We bought Bitcoin at 85. There's going to be times where there's going to be I can imagine a CNBC conversation going on with someone saying, oh, when did your fund buy Bitcoin? They're going to be like $109,000 and they're going to be celebrated. It's going to be like a red carpet. It's going to be pulled out for them because they bought Bitcoin at $109,000.
It's always interesting to me that Warren Buffett's brought up in the Bitcoin conversation as the antichrist of Bitcoin or the anti-BTC guy. And yet the fundamentals by which he invests in are, I don't think a toenail pops out of the mold for the way Warren Buffett invests in businesses. Bitcoin fits every one of those, except it doesn't generate cash. And that's not always been a requirement for him.
Yeah. You know what does generate cash though? MSTR.
Walk me through the MSTR. MSTR?
MSTR generates cash, right? For Warren Buffett, because he'd be selling call options against it.
Right.
But for the
He would buy the underlying and sell. He'd buy the underlying stock and sell call options against the stock.
Yeah, same thing as what MSTY is doing, except he'd do it himself.
How long does it take him to come into this space, you think?
I don't give a shit.
No, but just as a fundamental.
I think Warren Buffett gets into the space once Bitcoin reaches somewhere in the region of $550 to $1 million, something in that space. I think there's a sizable Warren Buffett investment. Remember, Warren Buffett is always late. He's just got enough capital that makes him look smart, but he's always late. Right? Like this is a habit. And I don't even blame him, because look how much capital they're dealing with.
But see, that's the point I wanted to make. Like, being late has not been a problem for Warren Buffett. And the other thing he doesn't do that people think that they confuse the story, he buys monster positions. He is the kind of guy that says, look, make 20 decisions in your lifetime on investment decisions, and all you really got to do is hit 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
You pick the right 4 or 5. Now, what does that mean? That means this concept of diversification is a lie.
Yeah.
It's the same problem as unit bias. The only reason people diversify is they're not convinced.
Yeah.
That's it, man. Their thesis is weak.
Completely agree. In fact, saying it's kind of interesting, because reflecting on what you're saying, the reality is Warren Buffett cannot afford to be early. Right? When you think about it, right? Because he's looking for such sure bets that he actually he's looking for 20 to 30 decisions in his lifetime, and he actually cannot afford to be early because of the position size that he's coming in with.
Yeah. I mean, he's literally grabbing all his nuts, like a squirrel. He's putting them in a box. He's probably got them in bonds. He's making a shitload of money probably in bonds, waiting for the event. And so what I'm trying to share with the audience is that you guys listen to all these people watching these charts, and I guarantee you ain't watching a fucking 1 hour chart.
Oh, yeah.
He sits there, he patiently waits, he then deploys big chunks. Like I think his Apple position was, I think he had 4 stocks, dude, 72% of his whole position in 4 stocks. And Apple was like 70% of that. So, this myth about needing to trade, and this myth about the short term, and the myth about spreading your bets around, that is not what the true serious wealth does. And that's not what BlackRock does. BlackRock doesn't make 37 bets unless it's all in the whole industry. And they're like, dude, we're going to be a part of this whole value chain, which is exactly what they're doing on Bitcoin. Every part of the value chain. I don't know how anybody can be bearish here, dude. Like, I don't even understand how anybody can get weak in the knees.
Well, I don't know. It's very interesting. I mean, I don't know. I'm getting a lot of backlash right now because of talking about income funds like MSTY and everything else. And it's just, there was a funny fucking tweet that came across that sort of sums up all of these gold bug Bitcoiners, as I like to call them. Hold on, I'm going to find it because it was hilarious. This guy basically said, without even looking into it, I can already tell that a lot of their followers will end up being the yield. Like this guy has just said, without even looking into it, I know this is shit.
Right.
Like, where do you? It's I don't know. It's weird. We're so early. We are so early right now, and I know it sounds insane to say that, but we are so early. It's not even funny at this point. And I get reminded of how early we are because I'm trying to help people bridge this understanding gap between Bitcoin and like TradFi. And it's so weird to me that people think like I've literally had people trying to compare MSTR to MSTY. And I'm like, these are two fundamentally different products. Like there's no way that you should compare these two products. It doesn't make any sense to compare them. And the response to that is, yeah, but this is how you should look at it. Like, no, it's not. That's not how any asset manager is going to look at it. So I don't know. I don't know, man. We're so early. Like I don't know. I don't want to say what I want to say, but like at
Go
the
ahead and
end of the
say it,
day,
man.
it's just making me lose hope that these Bitcoiners that have found their, once in a generation, once in the species of their last name opportunity are probably going to end up with nothing. That's the fear I have.
That'll be really sad because I don't think most of the wealth that could have been made in the last 8 years has been retained. I think
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of the great books of the 21st century is how many trillions of dollars were lost. Not lost like, well, even losing this stuff is ridiculous, but not retained. I mean, they basically, won a lottery ticket, then invested in some private equity that didn't do very well. And if they like, I will not repeat this. Like you mentioned a gentleman earlier that's just, you said a friend, but like I look at that guy and I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? You're I'm not even sure you went to a proper school, and if you did, I would get a refund because the way you can't sit there and go, this is a once in a century opportunity investment, and then say, hey, I'm going to go buy Pepe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just unless he's bleeding with Bitcoin. Okay, like I'm bleeding with Bitcoin right now. I love the volume of Bitcoin I've been able to acquire, but I've got $1.5 million sitting in miners that is just getting sucked. Dude, it's stupid that I put my money in the miners. It is stupid what I did, and I know better. I'm sitting there going, look, this is a train wreck. The miners don't own their own production. They don't own their own land. They don't own their own equipment. They have no access to cheap capital like Exxon does. They can't even keep Bitcoin on their balance sheet without getting approval from their shareholders. Exxon doesn't need that approval. They're like, shit, dude, we take commodity risk all the time. And they're trading at a much greater multiple, make no money. I don't know how to talk myself into this. I got caught up in the minor multiple. Let's go chase. This is what I'm talking about. The mistakes now that money was trapped in a fiat account, so I couldn't go into Bitcoin. I could have gone into MicroStrategy. Just I don't know why I didn't. I was stupid, dude. This is what I think people like about me is like, wow, that was $1.5 million. That was a dumb decision, Gary.
No.
And I wish people would actually embrace their mistakes and share them with people and go, now look, the cool thing is if I lost 100% of that money, Bitcoin, my position in Bitcoin's been so large. Like I literally am going to just make up for the mistake. But
Yeah, that's the
cool.
beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing, right? Once you're dealing with large numbers, I think I'm probably into miners for roughly $1 million as well, and just sitting on the position at this point. It's like, all right, let's see how this rides out.
Well,
And
it's so
see
low now. Are you at the same place I am? Dude, it's so low now. Like,
what do you do? Well, and I'm holding call options, so it's like really low. So
yeah,
it's like, what's the point? Let's just see what happens. I still think that the mining positions I'm in will attract liquidity when liquidity starts to flow. So let's just see what happens.
Well, while we're on that business, okay. So here, see, this is good. This is why I like you, because here's two guys. We get on TV and we talk about our positions, and we're talking about, oh wow, both of them have $1 million loss on miners. Like everyone makes these mistakes, guys. I don't care how many people that you see tweet and say they've bought 37 Ferraris yesterday. Awesome, that's cool. But listen to the people that tell you they make mistakes, okay, on a regular basis. There's no way that you put your beak into this market over and over and over and don't stumble. I mean, you just, like, we get caught up with the same shit that everybody else gets caught up with. And it's really awesome to have these kind of conversations, because it gets my ego out of it. Like, I'm like, oh, because I was literally sitting here 2 days ago. You're in a different position than me. And I was like, maybe I should, my ego is holding on to these miners now. Like at 85 grand, I know this thing's going to rip. And I bought miners at probably $40,000, $50,000 Bitcoin.
Yep.
Right? That's my opportunity cost. That's a fucking real that's a real cost. There's $35,000. That would have been probably 20 Bitcoin, man.
Yeah. So everyone, what they need to realize is what you're highlighting here is the awareness of the hurdle rate, which is Bitcoin.
It's making it almost impossible for me to do any private equity deals now, dude.
I don't understand. I've never been into private equity. I've never done that, so I don't really know much about it. But just when I'm analyzing just Bitcoin itself, and then just reflecting on what I know about private equity, I don't understand how a Bitcoiner would touch private equity at this point.
Yeah, well, I think
maybe I'm missing something, but I just.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit, okay? These are the problems. Once you have Bitcoin, and this is the cool thing for Christopher Gibbons or Stacy Lewis or the Surfer 36, right? Chipman. Most people they don't see deals where they can invest directly in the deal, build the company. Now that all sounds awesome. That's what I've done my whole life. You're broke for 6, 7, 8, 10 years. And then hopefully you either go bankrupt or you just crush it. You sell it to somebody and you make $200 million, and then you start again, or you go into hiding. The problem is you got to hire people. You've got to have a building. You've got to have lawyers. You've got to have all this stuff. Then you go to Europe and you got to get KYC'd, and you got to get more lawyers. And then you get a lawsuit, and then you get an employee, and then you got to have HR. And then you got to, I didn't have Bitcoin when I was 40. I have Bitcoin now as an option. Now I look at it and go, yeah, I don't really want any more human error risk. Yeah. I don't want any more intolerant snowflake IT people who decide that work-life balance is in their family code now because it's been 4 years and they're tired. Bitcoin never gets tired.
Yep.
Right? Got a monster community behind it. I think it's the biggest single market in the world, dude. Like if you pointed an addressable market for Node 40 or for chargeback management or banking and said, hey, there's 8 billion people that need this, that's a very large addressable market.
Yeah.
Right? And I've never had a business that could literally consume the entire planet at some level, whether it's a penny or $1 billion. I don't know why I would take the risk and all the hassle.
I also don't think that Bitcoin ever gets tired of you owning it, right? Whereas I have a friend who's in private equity, and he had to deal with a CEO who actually looked at him as the main investor in the seed round and told him that he doesn't own him. And look, if we're going to keep it real, let's just keep it real. If I'm a fucking investor at seed round, I fucking own you. You work for me. it's just as simple as that. Like you got to pick your poison, I didn't. Yeah. So that Bitcoin never gets tired of me owning Bitcoin. Bitcoin loves that I own Bitcoin. I love that.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, the agenda never changes. See, what you really get into, like, there's just so much risk on the private equity side. Look, more money has been made building companies than real estate. Like, I got to remind my brother on a regular basis, brother, real money's been made by the boys that built businesses and sold them. Real estate. Look, I think you're going to see major real estate players move into Bitcoin. They're just going to leave the real estate behind. Once you do the real estate piece, dude, you're like, once you add the Bitcoin piece, you're going to be like, my brother will never get to 10 funds. There's no way. He's too smart. The one, but he's got some real money now chasing him to take it public, and that may be, if he does exit it, it'll be the real estate Bitcoin business that he exits. But I think at his age, what he's going to start to realize is the reason he did the fund. This is just Gary speaking. Okay, we don't do much together. One, it was in order for him to move into Bitcoin and keep his investor base, he couldn't just do Bitcoin on his own and then still doing real estate going, hey, by the way, I'm doing Bitcoin, but I'm raising money from you guys on the real estate.
Yep.
So he blended them. But I think you get to a point where you're like, this thing's doing so well. Why don't I just buy Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to get overly complicated. He's probably big enough to raise money to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Funny enough. And whether you even need to do that for 2 or 3% spread, I don't need it. I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of real estate people go, why do I need this headache? And I don't see how real estate doesn't get hammered from tariffs, taxes, and a government that's got lots of issues with it. Every state has issues.
I think I've always said, like, I think residential real estate, like that normal single family homes, etc., are going to get completely screwed because it's the only place that you can do a wealth tax from at the end of the day. Like it's just doesn't, you can't do a wealth tax from, oceanfront real estate. You could try, but then, the money's going to start moving against you. So really the only place that you can do it is through single family homes. It's the only hidden wealth tax that you can do. So it doesn't make sense to me that, real estate's an interesting one. I look forward to seeing what happens over the next 10 years. I don't think it has to crash. A lot of people hear me and they think that I think real estate's going to crash. I don't think it's going to crash. But if it's just stays stagnant for 10 years, that is a tax in itself. And I think that's what is going to happen here. I think they're going to engineer an environment where incomes can finally catch up and reset affordability, which will be a direct wealth tax on the owners of those properties.
I read a report just the other day that there are more people living in their cars in the United States than ever before.
That's terrible.
And that's scary, man.
That's awful.
But it also suggests to me that the apartment business, you can't, like, I don't see prices coming down. I don't see home prices coming down. I don't see apartment rents coming down. And therefore, if people are living in a car at the highest level ever, what's to stop them from then buddying up into an apartment building? So that $4,000 apartment building now it's 2 people in it, and it's only $2,000. So our quality of life, our value, the value we have goes down, but the cost of that, it's a little bit like, the bag of potato chips is smaller, but the price didn't change. That's awesome. That's inflation. Okay. That is direct inflation.
Well, we'll see. I'm so far. I mean, I don't know. We got to see what happens with these mortgage rates, right? Was the 30-year fixed rate in the U.S. was like 6.7% when I checked it the other day. It's like, I don't know. I think the Fed's coming in a few short months. I think they're lining
I
up
think
for
we're going to have a fight, dude. I think they're going to argue. I think there's going to be a fight between Trump and the Fed.
what's happening right now. Like from my from my interpretation, I looked at what everyone said, and I looked at all the art of the deal and the clap, 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 like sea lions about how great the art of the deal is and this president and everything else. And I just decided to put my skeptical hat on. And I thought, okay, so if the goal was to get the 10-year rate down, well, then some of the smartest people in the world that know how to do that failed in 4 days. So clearly that wasn't the goal, right? Because I don't believe that Howard Lutnick and Besant would fail at that particular objective if it was the objective in 4 days. I don't think China outfoxed those two guys in 4 days. And so I thought about it. I was like, well, what if we just go complete? And we don't know. Nobody knows, right? Nobody's been told like this is the objective here. So I'm just speculating. But I thought about it. I was like, what if the actual objective is to get the 10-year as high as possible? Right?
And
Because then
for what purpose?
Because then what happens is you have to, if you think about, okay, how do we get the 10-year as high as possible? Well, number one is uncertainty. Create absolute uncertainty drives people into treasuries. Number two, we're going to give China a thought that they can harm the US by dumping their $700 billion worth of treasuries, which they've been holding over our heads for 10 years now, 15 years now. So China starts dumping to raise cash because they've got the tariffs, right? So you put the tariffs on, get China to dump those treasuries. But even though it causes short-term pain, China is now depowered, increasingly depowered from harming the US because they've got less and less treasuries on their books. You then use that moment to basically renegotiate these trade deals. The goal is never to bring back 100% of the trade of manufacturing to the US because it would be stupid. But you basically diversify China's control over your treasuries to 15 different countries, not one. And then at the same time, you give the Federal Reserve a credible scenario where they can actually step in and be the superheroes. Because right now, the Fed doesn't have a credible scenario to come in and start easing. But if the 10-year is sitting at 6.5, the Fed has an absolute reason to come in and save the day. Now, I'm not saying this is exactly what the thought process is, but what I'm saying is this sounds more right to me as a game theorist than our goal is to get the 10-year down to refinance the debt, which, by the way, the refinancing is due in Q3, Q4. So it's like, why don't we just break the bond market, cause all this uncertainty, and now the Federal Reserve has complete grounds to come and take the action that we want them to take.
How long do you think that takes for them to take action?
Not long. I think it happens. It happens in the next couple months, or it starts to happen.
How do you think the current administration's doing overall, not related to Bitcoin, but just overall?
Again, I think they're doing exactly kind of how you would expect a Trump administration to do, which is it's mayhem, right?
Wait.
And that's a good thing. You all right?
Do you hear that? I just got somebody bouncing in on my. Let's see, where the heck is this? Sorry here. Don't know where. Can you hear that?
No.
You can't hear anything.
No.
There it is. Okay. Sorry. It was bugging me. It was another show that popped up. So you think they're doing the job you expected? Because all I'm hearing from a good 50% of the people is that Trump's an idiot, Howard's an idiot, Besant doesn't know anything.
Yeah,
They're
it's
all
easy for
smart.
people. It's easy for people with a $10,000 net worth to tell, Scott Bessent that he doesn't know what he's doing. That's an easy thing for that person to do. Look, at the end of the day, it was going to be chaos, and to a certain amount of to a certain percentage, you need chaos in order to do what they're doing, right? Because you've got to get people panicking. If you don't get people panicking, you're not going to get them into, in bullfighting, right? The bull has a certain carencia, which is like the bull's fucking zone where he's feeling comfortable. And you've got to get the bull out of his comfort zone in order to actually manipulate him, right? That's what the matador's job is. The matador's job is to not let that bull find its carencia. And the Trump administration has basically come in and shaken everything up to the point. And that's why I think that's why they keep going tariff on, tariff off, tariff on, tariff off, because it's like, just when you think that we have a plan, it's now changed. I think it was hilarious to me that, Trump said, we've got all these exclusions on a Friday. And by Sunday, Howard Lutnick is out saying, by the way, those tariffs on those tech goods are coming soon enough in about a month. So do I think it's good for markets? No, I don't. I don't think any of this is good for markets. Do I think it's good for getting a deal done? I think it is. Do I think it's good for handing the Fed a credible reason to come in and save the world? I think it is. Do I think it's a good way to get China to start dropping some of those treasuries and build up, their cash pile? I think it is. So I think from that perspective, it's good. But is it good for markets? Absolutely not. Markets are only going to rally when the certainty comes back in.
Doesn't impact you or I, though. Like this is the point that I think people need to recognize. Just because the S&P went down 3% one day, if you're not in the S&P, it doesn't really impact you. It's just drama. It's just noise.
And I think that's what they've realized. Like, they can sacrifice the markets because the majority of the voting base is not in the markets.
That's right. That's right. It's not Wall Street. I have to keep arguing with people. 70% of the world is not in Wall Street. It's just the very top of the food chain. And all the little whiners right now who've come out in the last 2 weeks. I mean, I thought they were Bitcoiners, dude. They're behaving as if they own a lot of equities. That's what they're behaving like. And I'm just looking around going, wow, I thought you guys were like hardcore. I'm a hardcore Bitcoiner. Like I have become, I'm like, wow, man, I think I'm one of the hardcore Bitcoiners, dude. Like, you guys are worrying about NVIDIA. Why would you worry about NVIDIA if you didn't own NVIDIA?
Well,
like, I started looking at it going, God damn, dude, this stuff's getting so cheap. This is what I was trying to get to. I found myself the other day looking at Bitcoin at 80, 85, 90, and then looked at Palantir and went, man, I can buy Palantir for $70, dude.
No.
Like, it's starting to get, like, I started looking at equities away from Bitcoin. I'm like, hey, don't get hoodwinked here, dude. Like, I could literally, oh shit, I need some Palantir, because I've seen Palantir do. I think Palantir is going to be a great company. I would invest in it for a very different reason than I would Bitcoin. I would literally invest in it because they're that close to the government. That is not a good reason to invest in a company. And that would be my only reason. Hey, they're really smart people and they're really tied in with the government. That's a horrible reason to invest in a business. I mean, it's probably a smart reason, but it's not a clean reason like a Bitcoin. Oh, wow, look at this, man. This is a commodity play. It's not going to hurt anybody. They're not making weapons. Bitcoin's never going to get tariffed and it's never going to kill anyone.
Yeah. I think with your philosophy there, I think one of the safest investments you can make if you want equities is Tesla. Because how do you basically now, push Elon Musk out there as like the tech genius savior of the United States and the right-hand person of the president, and then let Tesla fail? It's not happening. Just the egos are too big. It's not happening. So if you want, a 3 or 4 year investment, I think Tesla is, if you want equities, I'm not buying any, but I think Tesla would be anything that's that close to the government. that's got that many egos attached to it, it's going to work out.
Yeah, as long as he's alive. But if something were to happen to him, Tesla stock would get absolutely, talk about human error risk. Okay, he goes away, dude, the whole game's done. I mean, like
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
an event. Do you agree with that?
Instant sell. Instant.
Instant. See,
Yeah.
that's why to me that's not. Although I appreciate what you're saying, to me that would be. I wouldn't now with Palantir. They got a team of people. It's not just Carp. And I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying these equities now are starting to get very interesting, which may extend our journey into being able to buy Bitcoin before all the super rich people get here, because they're going to understand Palantir and their advisor will understand Palantir better than Bitcoin.
Yeah, the good thing about Bitcoin is you don't actually need that much capital going into Bitcoin to drive the price up. Especially once the supply starts getting very tight, you don't actually need that much capital going in. I think that Bitcoiners
We've had, in fairness, we've had a lot more capital coming into this market than we would have thought, and it hasn't really moved the price, right?
Sure, but there's been a lot of rotation going on, right? So all of this stuff is rotation. It's rotation shit that's causing this drag on price. The rotation has to finish. Now, the rotation has taken a lot longer than I thought it would, but the rotation has to finish. The fact that 600,000 coins have moved from retail to institution was much larger than I thought it was going to be. So the rotation has to finish. As soon as this rotation finishes and like the dust settles on who wants to own Bitcoin and having owned Bitcoin, et cetera, yeah, I think you're going to see this thing absolutely fly with tiny amounts of capital. You've got to remember, we had the GBTC issue. There was a lot that's happened since the ETFs. The fact that people, were dumping out of their GBTC for so long, all that capital all of that was being sucked up. And I think, all those people that own GBTC, I think it was like a 30 or 40% rebuy rate. So there's a lot of rotation that's had to happen here.
Yeah. I wouldn't have thought we'd have had a $50 billion a day market either. I mean, that's a big market, man. Somebody was talking about the size of the bond market, and hey, China has this many billions. I'm like, wow, that's 5 days of Bitcoin. I mean, it's not enormous numbers.
Yeah. But China's an interesting one, man. Have you seen these videos of these Chinese factory people that are like trying to help people circumvent US tariffs by buying, in essence, fake goods, fake products? It's quite fascinating. Like if I was imagine being an Hermes Birkin bag collector, right? And you spend millions of dollars buying these bags, and then you hear this Chinese story saying, "Here, we made these bags in this factory, not in France." I think Hermes actually had to come out and clarify, we don't source anything from China today. I think they came out and said that.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's fascinating.
They will have to say that, my friend.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know if they're just saying it or they're whatever. I would assume they're under a lot of legal pressure if they lie about it. But yeah, it's quite interesting to see how China seems to want to just shoot itself in the dick.
In 2008, I went into a convention center. This would be right before we started the fraud business in the payments industry that I got in trouble for. And I remember being in a trade show, and I met a guy who sold T-shirts. And he said, I said, how many T-shirts do you sell a day? 600 T-shirts a day on a website. That's pretty cool, dude. $89. I'm like, God dang, man, $89. Now, I don't know anything about T-shirts, don't know anything about retail, but I do know about supply and demand. And I walked away from that going, dude, there is just not an infinite demand for T-shirts on planet Earth. There is not.
Yeah.
I was in a Walmart store, and I'm like, who the hell is this guy taking 600 T-shirt sales away from? And I'm like, it's Walmart, dude. And they're taking $8 and $9 T-shirt sales. So I'm sitting here going, oh my God, man, this is almost 20 years ago. 20 years ago, the entire everything that has a label is going to be destroyed in the future.
Yeah.
And Louis Vuitton and all these purse makers, there isn't anything special about these purses, man. Like you can say they're not made in China, but at the end of the day, like it's literally a logo that's been marked up to God knows how high. And there's only so many of these people that can afford a $20,000 purse, dude. I think they're maxed out. They can't have any more. Like you can make those purses forever to the end of time. And so this is my point. I think the entire luxury market's getting ready to get crushed. I mean, crushed, man. How many rich friends do you know that do not need another Rolex, man? Another $20,000 Rolex.
But the one part that I disagree on is they keep buying it. Right? They keep buying it because there is a status attached to it. Now, if the brand, here's the crazy part about it. With Bitcoin, I don't need to rely on a brand to maintain the scarcity value of my investment. Bitcoin does it for me. With Rolex, with Hermes, with Patek Philippe, I need to rely on them to maintain my scarcity, right? So I'm in their debt if I'm looking at it as an investment. I'm in their debt. I mean, they're completely in control.
Yep.
So I think you're right. I think that there will be some winners. I think it's going to be consolidation, really. I think
In a
the luxury.
world in a world of AI and robotics, bro, there's no luxury.
I
It's
don't
only
know.
perfection. It's only perfection.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think in a weird way, looking at the other side of that, I think in a weird way, you could actually see that market grow. But there will be a period of consolidation for sure. Because if you look at like the super wealthy, like, okay, everyone's got AI now, so there's no such thing as luxury. Well, now, if Hermes is actually on point, they're actually more valuable as a status object than they were because everyone has the other shit.
Problem
Like
is
if
they
AI,
all have debt right up to here, man. And the addressable market is declining. You will buy less watches in 10 years than you do today. It's just natural. As you get older, you spend less on stupid stuff. Not to
100%.
say that the petite's stupid, but at 60 years old, you don't need a
It
petite.
is
Like,
stupid.
whatever.
It is stupid. It's completely stupid. It doesn't make sense. If I was to evaluate the decision to buy it, like from a logical point of view, it's completely stupid. There's no two ways to do it. It's based purely on passion. Now the
Yeah.
question is, passion is fallible, right? Because let's say something happens to me and it goes to my next of kin. What if they're not passionate about Patek? What happens to the collection at that point, right? So that's happening to gold, by the way, let alone Patek Philippe's. That's happening to gold. When you study like some of Charles Schwab's asset allocation reports from generation to generation, gold is getting murdered. Like this next generation, where this capital's going to, does not want gold.
No chance. I agree. I totally agree with you. And I think a really good analogy is the diamond market. Like once the synthetics came out and they were really good, I looked at synthetics 15 years ago. I'm like, why would I ever pay $50,000? Like everybody knows I'm wealthy. Okay. It's like, I don't need to go buy somebody a 10 karat diamond I would never do that. But if I can buy a 10 karat diamond that looks better than a fucking 10 karat diamond, I mean, do, do, do super, do, Jeff Bezos could pull that off all day long. Nobody's going to ask him if he's
I
buying
don't
a
think
synthetic.
I'm never like. Can you imagine buying a natural diamond now? Like you got to be a fucking moron as far as I'm concerned.
Why would you do that? It's not going to
Doesn't
hold.
make sense. I've got a friend who deals in diamonds, and he was saying, he goes, "There's no way to tell the difference. Like you would need some kind of machine that is in a lab, and then you'll be able to tell the difference. But outside of that, it is a VVS1. You know, whatever you say it is, whatever it's made to be, it is that. There is no way. Why the hell would I buy a natural diamond now? Like,
Right.
there's no way. I don't care what anyone says. The only way I'm buying a natural
Then your
diamond,
watch story goes the same way, man.
I don't know, because Patek Philippe is a brand. The diamond is a commodity, right? Like, so it's really the brand value of it that's valuable, not the watch. I agree with you on the actual manufacturing of the watch, but like, I think a robot will be able to put together a Patek watch with the same level of precision and quality as a Patek artisan. But will the
You
brand
think it
value?
will or will not?
I think it will. I think it will. I think, but the brand value, I don't think that goes away. Not for a long time. Who knows? By the time that happens, I won't be here, so it's all good.
Yeah,
We'll
I
have
think
next.
brands. I mean, you could see BMW go away.
Yeah, because they make shit cars.
And they're not going to be competitive.
Yeah, of course.
Nor is
When is
Mercedes.
By the way, like, living in Dubai, like, there's a lot of this Western propaganda that we get fed when you're in London and the US and everywhere else. Like, I'm telling you right now, some of these Chinese cars are pretty damn good.
I've heard that, man.
Some of these Chinese cars are pretty damn good. Like, I don't think a Tesla holds a candle to some of this stuff. When you talk about from a software perspective, I think a Tesla is probably going to be amazing, right? And beat everyone. But the actual cars, I don't know, man. Like, I've had a Tesla for a month. I hated it. I couldn't wait to give it back.
Which ones you have?
It was a Model 3. I was in London for a month and I just rented one. I was like, let me see what the hype is about. There was no hype.
What didn't you like about it?
I don't like anything about it. I don't like the way it drives. I don't like the way it feels when you drive. I don't like the seating. I don't like the quality of the leather. I don't like the styling on the inside. I don't like fucking anything about it. I don't like the charging. I don't like anything. I don't want to charge the car.
Me
Like,
either, man.
I don't want to sit there like a fucking moron waiting for my car to charge so I can drive off as a man. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I've been in one, the biggest model. I guess that's the Y. I was in Germany, and we're doing 90 down the highway. I'm like, this sounds like the windows are open. Like the noise was fucking horrible. Now, having said that, the brand new Range Rovers, they're horrible, dude. $220,000 and the fucking wind noise on these cars.
And it breaks down all the damn time.
But, the only thing you didn't say about the Tesla is that it's fucking ugly.
And
it's
that.
It's an ugly car. There isn't one that's pretty. And this cyber thing, you couldn't get me in a cyber truck if you paid it.
It
I
is
like
a
Elon,
fucking
but I think they're
ugly
the
car.
ugliest cars in the world.
It is an ugly car. You're absolutely right. Completely, utterly fucking ugly. Now, the Roadster, though, the Roadster's quite pretty. The new Roadster.
Yeah, we're bashing everybody today.
Oh, yeah.
We started with Fred and we ended up with Elon.
There we go.
At least we're upgrading.
Fred thinks he's Elon, so it's all good.
Yeah. What are you worried about? Anything relative to Bitcoin? Is there anything that can throw you off your you and I are the most relaxed guys I know right now. Everybody else is freaking out. I'm like, why are y'all freaking out?
Yeah, not really. The only thing I'm not really concerned about Bitcoin. The only thing that is pissing me off is the fact that I'm not able to really have absolute certainty on what the strategy is from a US geopolitical point of view. Like, I like certainty like every other investor, right? But then this is the exciting periods where we have, this bullshit going on. So we'll see how this pans out. But from my perspective, it's like I'm sitting here, I've got Bitcoin, I've got MSTR, I've got MSTY, I've got my other income sources. Everything's good right now. Like, I can't point to one thing that's, the British Hodl channel's growing. friendships are good, family's good. Like, I don't know what else there is to. I don't know what there is to complain about.
You got to be grateful when it's all going well, man.
100%, 100%. You have to be grateful when it's going well. Completely agreed.
Because there'll be times, even when you're holding Bitcoin, that life's just difficult.
I've had it.
Oh yeah, and you'll have it again too. If you live long enough, you'll have it again and again. It's part of the process.
It's kind of weird when you're like, I come from a very like lower middle class family to start with, and then you sort of become wealthy, and like your problems are still there, and you just sort of look around and go, no one fucking told me this would be the case where your problems are still here when you got money. I thought money was supposed to fix everything. And then you sort of realize like there are problems in the world that no matter how much money you have, you still got to go through the fucking problem. Now, the money may help you solve those problems in a classier way, but yeah, at the end of the day, you got to be grateful at all times.
I think in some ways, money can actually delay you dealing with it. So in some ways, the money actually becomes a problem. But it is sad that people don't. There is a lot of things money will not actually. Well, in fact, it doesn't matter. You're still going to have to go through the life thing. And if you're not a nice person, you have a lot of money, you're still going to not be a nice person. If I'm angry and bitter and I've got 1,000 Bitcoin, I'm going to be angry and bitter. Nobody's going to remember the 1,000 Bitcoin. They're going to say, hey, the guy was an asshole. So I actually think it becomes more challenging. And people think, oh, it gets easier. No, it can be very confusing, actually, because you're thinking that it should be, hey, I paid my way to like have a bit of a smooth ride here. Hey, this ride is not smooth right now. This is life, man. Yeah. This is life. And this is why one of the reasons I come on here, because I don't really I don't make money from doing this, but I look at the tool and go, wow, I see a lot of tools coming on here and spreading shit that's just not like very helpful. And so I can either go into hiding or I can stick my nose in here and go, hey, this is my view. I collect a few people like you in my universe. And to me, spinning up this community between us with practical solutions about how to live that aren't covered in.
I don't know if it's me or you, but your audio cut out for me.
Oh, did it? Can you hear me now? Might be you. I don't see anything.
Maybe it's my.
You might have disconnected something. But I think the Bitcoin only gets me. Can you hear me now? KB, all the guys say they can hear me. British.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, but you changed your speaker, it sounds like.
For some reason, I can't hear you.
Everybody else.
What the fuck is going on? Check, make sure this mic.
I can hear you.
Mic's good. What is happening here?
The audience can hear me, so I was getting ready to end this up anyway. So hell, I might just turn the guy off if you can't hear me. Delete. I have
no idea what's happened.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do, buddy. We'll just end it up here. I'm going to throw the screen up. 84.8. I like it. I like Bitcoin at 84.8. I like it a lot. Hey, guys, I think British is going to try and come back. British, your battery on mic is dead. I want to thank everybody for being here. Dinos, KB, Max Major, Knowledge Seeker, Dave Yu, About Last Night, Clipman, Marduk, Adrian Martinez, Coadic, Bitcoin Bull. You guys are awesome. How's this, man? Can you hear now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Awesome. Not sure what happened there. I was just thanking everyone for being here. Look, man, let's go ahead and close up. You got any closing comments, thoughts, advice to anyone out there?
Not really. Just get to one fucking Bitcoin before it's too late.
I'm with you, man. What would you do right now? Let's pretend like you're 25 years old.
Oh man,
And,
don't,
and
this
hey,
is
you
hard.
don't have a Bitcoin. What would you do? Bitcoin's at 80 grand. What would you do to go find a way to make 80 grand to buy Bitcoin? Give me two things you'd just go hustle into the next 2 months. How long would it take you to make 80 grand, dude? 25 years old.
What skills do I have
You have the skills that you have right now.
that I have right now?
Yeah, but well, whatever you were like at 25. I mean,
Okay.
shit, I know you could call me up and say, Gary, I got $20,000 worth of work to give you tomorrow, bro. I mean, if you want to do some manual labor.
Yeah. I think that would be the case. You would have to go figure out, okay, like there would I don't think it would be one thing. I think it would be a slew of things. I think it would be a machine gun approach. I would go sell shit. I would figure out how to get 2 or 3 sales jobs, figure out how to build a brand value very quickly. I would figure out how to sell expensive shit. Back then, it was mainly like real estate and stuff like that. So I would probably just go find a way to go secure a discounted development and then package that up. If the deal is right, the people will come. So package that up and find the investors, close it, and hopefully walk away with 80 grand.
Now, I'll tell you what I would do. I would target rich people like me and you. I would knock on their door. I'd go into rich neighborhoods. I'd get dressed properly. I'd get a little business card that cost me nothing. And I would knock on the door and go, hey, look, I am here to help you. Okay. I guarantee you, especially after all these bloody hurricanes, you can't get any help. And a kid could literally buy $100 power washer at Walmart and come sell $2,000 power washing to me. Hey, let me clean all your weeds up. Hey, your lawnmower man didn't leave that. He kind of fucked that up. Let me clean that up for $500. Dude, I can make 80 grand so fast. It'd be stupid.
Yeah.
Once you find someone with a problem, they're willing to write you a check. They'll write you a second check to help them.
And then they'll call their friends up and say, you got the same problem? I just found a guy that did a good job at this.
Yeah, exactly. You don't steal from the you treat them nice. You over deliver like by a mile. Okay, you don't take no. Some kids walked up to me the other day, tried to sell me something for $5 grand. I said, no. They've come back now and go, hey, look, would you let us do your house and then we'll advertise it? We want to advertise that we did your house. That's smart, man.
Yeah.
Okay, instead of them going, well, I'm not going to get $5 grand from Gary. Let's get something from them. They don't give up. So I don't buy this that somebody couldn't make 50,000 pounds.
I've got another way that you can do it, courtesy of the current state of America. All you got to do is go to California and steal $900 worth of shit 88 times, and you've got your one fucking Bitcoin.
That's it, man. You don't get arrested.
Run up into somewhere with a ski mask on and get the Bitcoin.
Yeah, I would stay away from the purses right now, personally.
Yeah, probably stay away from the purses for sure. Just roll into a store. Like, you can do that, right? You can go to California. Everything up to $900 is free, apparently.
Yeah, well, the real thing would be to go grab 4 or 5 guys or 10, create a little crew, and take 80% of the profits, give them a little juice.
There you go. We're fucking joking.
Yeah, we are kidding. Okay, we do not support stealing from anyone.
We are fucking joking. Relax.
Yeah. Hey, man, thank you very much for showing up. If you guys want to see British and I do something regular, we've been talking about maybe every week, every 2 weeks, doing something like this. I see comments here like, hey, this is kind of boring. What you guys need to understand is when 2 people come together to do this on a Tuesday at 1:00, I missed an event, and that's my bad. That's not on you guys. But 2, it would be really nice when the conversation is boring, because we're not professional entertainers that put on makeup, as you can see. We're not Kate Perry. We're not launching rockets at 50 million bucks a pop to get some. So just be nice to us, okay? Like, we're doing this, try to help you, but we're not always going to be exciting. We can't make the market exciting. And if there's nothing new to say, we're not going to make it up. I really appreciate the conversation we had today, because I think it's very practical. These type of conversations that guys like he and I are really having a hard time looking at any other businesses and saying, why would I invest in that when I can invest in Bitcoin? That should say something to a couple of you guys out there. So although it may not be the most exciting conversation, I'm interested in having extreme wealth where I can tell people, fuck you, or let's roll with extreme passion. That's got to be a great way to live, okay? To be able to say yes to anything and no to anything. That has to be a wonderful way to live. And me and British are like, hey, let's encourage everyone to get into this say yes, say no club. That's a pretty cool thing. British, closing comments, please.
Step number 1, you buy Bitcoin. Step number 2, you shut the fuck up. And step number 3, you get fabulously wealthy.
That's it. Thank you, guys. You guys retweet the space. Make sure you're following British. He's an awesome human being. And do something freaking nice for somebody today, okay? And don't take credit for it. That is an awesome life hack. British, thank you, bro. Really, really appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.